I'm good. How about you?
We got Dr. Jekyll tonight instead of Mr. Hyde.
What the heck is going on? How does this always happen?
This is got to be one of the most inconsistent Canucks teams I've seen in a long time, man.
It's very bizarre.
It's very strange. I mean, good work to open the scoring. It's one of those dirty area goals to the net and find a way to get it in the back of the net.
Mhm.
We need more of that, obviously. It's pretty alarming that our top guys aren't going. Um, our power play didn't look great. I don't think we got really a chance off of that opportunity. Um, Good on us to have the lion's share of the shots that period, but the first 5 minutes were not the greatest 5 minutes of the game. That's for sure.
Yeah. It was kind of like, what are we doing here? I thought we were on the road. And Vegas hasn't played since Sunday. It's a good opportunity for the Canucks to come out. Like a lot of the time, that's what happens. It is quite hard to play back to back nights, but sometimes that means you're ready for the game, and they did not look ready for the game.
No, but they got into the game a lot quicker than they have in recent history. So we'll call that a bit of an up, I guess. That they were able to find their legs. Still pretty sloppy. Not a lot of good quality chances, but we are getting the puck to the net, which is a positive, as opposed to yesterday where we were struggling to even get a shot on goal. So.
Yeah, 12 shots on net through the first period, which you don't see a lot of the time. Double digits for the Canucks in a period. We got to start planning the parade route again, I'm guessing.
No kidding. In the first period, no less. When was the last time we had double digit shots in the first? That's a rarity this season. So um definitely gonna take that as a good thing.
Out hitting the Vegas Golden Knights, which can be a hard thing to do because the Vegas Golden Knights do throw their weight around as well. Out hitting them at 8-6. So coming out physical. Um, do you think they
Yep,
can
but you
they
can
even take
see.
it to another level?
Well, I think it's got you got to be careful because you don't want to wake Vegas up. You've seen the hits that Vegas has thrown already are a little bit on the bigger side.
Yeah.
Um, Garland's kind of getting rocked around a bit. He's definitely size mismatched against this Vegas back end. Hannafin has tagged him a couple times already, so we're gonna have to be careful how we forecheck and who we're sending in on the forecheck.
Hmm.
I don't know if the lines are already going in a blender or if something just got mixed up at the end there, but it looked like Miller at the end of the period ended up with Suter and Garland, and then PD came out with Di and Besser. So I don't know if um, we're just grasping to get our top guys going, but thank goodness for secondary scoring in that the third line there.
Well, yeah, it was weird because I think just start the game, it was one of those things where there wasn't a lot of whistles, so they were changing on the fly. The Canucks maybe were getting caught in, and there was some wild, like the combinations of the lines weren't exactly what we thought they were going to be. And then, like you said at the very end, then you had those line changes. Is it is it Talkit just tinkering, or is it just still maybe they're having a hard time getting the guys on the ice they want to?
Well, I noticed the line changes, right, like changing on the fly, but the one that I was bringing up was right after a whistle, so it
Yeah.
was on a face off. So I'm not sure if that's just what they're gonna try and do to get people going or what, but something's got to give with our top six.
The other one that I'm going to give the Canucks a down on is they already have 7 giveaways, which against a team like this is not what you want to be doing. That can end up very easily in the back of the net. What kind of adjustments do you think they need to do to cut down on those giveaways?
I think we got to move the puck quicker. Can't let them get physical on us because they play a similar game to the Canucks with the bang and crash and try and separate you from the puck with the body.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to make crisp, clean passes, and they're gonna have to be quick. You can't second guess yourself, and you're gonna have to go back to playing on instinct. And we saw a couple times there where guys held on to the puck a little too long and got hit a little harder than they probably wanted to.
Given up to Teddy Bluger scoring a goal against his old team, which is what we talked about last game. Usually that happens the opposite way. But so far
Mm-hmm.
this year, we had DeBrusk score against Boston, and we got Bluger scoring against Vegas.
Yeah, there you go.
Got to feel good for a man who was a part of that Stanley Cup when Vegas won it. So good to come back and score. I mean, not a lot of guys left from the team that he actually won with, but still probably feels good for Teddy Bluger to score against his former team.
For sure, always feels good to bury one against a former team.
Downs, any other downs from the Canucks?
Not really. I mean, it like I said, it's just a completely different team than what we saw last night. Like you never know what you're gonna get.
Everyone at work was asking me today, like, what do you think's gonna happen? I'm like, the Canucks will probably win 4-0 because nothing makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, let's get into it. The drama. Or maybe it's drama, maybe it's not drama, maybe it's all in our heads. But PD Miller, they looked really mopey last night. Now they're sharing line mates tonight. And then Rick Dollywall, I saw today, came out and he said, listen, everyone keeps on blaming the media like they always do, saying that it's not a thing and the media is just blowing it out of proportion. And Rick Dollywall is like, listen, it is not. This is a real thing that they're dealing with. So what does that mean for this team moving forward?
Yeah. I mean, something's got to give. Realistically, neither player right now is bringing their A game. Miller's been a little more noticeable because he plays an angry style and he goes out there and he throws his weight around, but really he's not putting the puck in the net and he's not generating good chances. He's getting assists here or there, but they're not like world beater assists. Both of these players with their agents decided to sign long-term deals here, knowing that they don't see eye to eye. So at the end of the day, they need to start playing for the logo on the front of the jersey instead of the name on the back. If they don't see eye to eye, you still need to have enough respect for each other to reach the common goal, and that is to win hockey games and to be the best team in the NHL. And for them to kind of go at each other, like, I don't know if it's like I think I'm better and I think I'm better and I get this much and you get that much and you should be doing this and you should be doing that type of situation. Like, I don't know what the discourse is between Miller and PD.
Mm-hmm.
No one can know unless they are the two people or in the room. But realistically, every workplace, classroom, family, etc., has issues. Not everyone gets along. Like,
Mm-hmm.
every job you've ever worked, every job I've ever worked, have you got along with everyone that you work with?
No.
I doubt it, right? Like, but at the end of the day, you have a job to do. And when it comes down to it, these guys are paid millions of dollars to play a children's game.
Mm-hmm.
They need to suck it up and realize that they put their name on the contract. They signed the contract. No one forced them to. No one said, hey, if you don't sign here, you're not going to get a free agent offer elsewhere. These guys made this decision. So at the end of the day, they need to put it aside and figure it out. And now it's getting to the point where even coaching seems like they're challenging these two to be like, okay, if you guys want to act like this, like if Miller wants to act like he's the best and if Petey wants to be the best, then they're going to need to prove it. But neither one of them is. Neither one of them is taking the ball and running with it and showing that they deserve to be the guy. And if that's really what either one of them wants, then they got to figure it out.
I mean, I went back and rewatched the overtime last night because they generally, if a team goes to 3-on-3 overtime, they repost it. And I mean, I mentioned earlier in the game last night, Miller looked like he was floating back to the bench, which is something that drives me absolutely nuts, floating back to the bench. But then you saw in overtime, JT Miller took whatever it was, like almost a 2-minute shift at the end there. And then Pettersson was taking like 15-second shifts and then floating back to the bench. So it seems like they were both moping. Do you think one thing that JT Miller has problems with Pettersson is he plays a fairly light game. Like, he's gotten a little bit back to getting knocked around, not staying as much on his feet. And do you think maybe he's like, well, why can't you be more like me? You're making more money than me. You should be playing a harder game.
Well, I'm sure there's probably feelings like that, but at the end of the day, Elias Pettersson isn't JT Miller, and JT Miller isn't Elias Pettersson. These
Yeah.
guys don't have the same toolboxes, and that's where it needs to be. This moment of, okay, I respect the tools that you have, and you need to respect the tools that I have, and we need to find a way to mesh those together to make it work. We've seen them have success in the past. I don't know what happened at the All-Star game last year, but that seems to have been the catalyst to this relationship really going sideways,
Mm.
because that's when everything kind of started changing with Petey kind of falling back and being a little more reserved. Um, but again, at the end of the day, they have a job to do. And trading either one of them, if either one of them thinks getting traded is the answer, they're going to go to another team and they're going to have a problem with another guy on another team, because that's just the way life is.
Yeah.
They're never going to be a perfect situation. So you need to suck it up and go out there and play hockey. And that's like, and I heard, Thomas Strantz this morning defending Miller's shift in overtime and saying, well, he's your best offensive player from last year. He generated the most points and he generated a scoring chance. And in my opinion, that's not a scoring chance. There wasn't a shot on goal. He refused to change, and then he pushed a play into the offensive zone, threw an errant pass across the whole width of the ice,
Mm-hmm.
missed Garland with the pass, turned it over, and then didn't have enough energy to get back. That's not a scoring chance. That's a turnover.
Yeah.
And not being able to get back because you don't have the energy. It's one thing if there was a shot on net and a close chance and they almost scored. Okay, but this is again when I said if you want to act like a superstar, you better have superstar results. And that's where I have an issue with Miller's emotion at times. I don't have an issue with like I don't deny that Miller has talent. He is our most talented player when he channels his emotions the right way
Yeah.
and he makes everyone else around him better. But when he's this sour crybaby, he brings everyone else down and it brings the entire team down. And if he's going to have an A on his jersey, he needs to get over himself and figure it out.
Is the solution to have them just like put their dukes up and have a fight, or do we have them actually get forced to play on a line together?
I honestly, at this point, don't know what the solution is. I don't know if they need to bring in like a life coach or something for these two guys to like sit down and hash out how they're going to make it work. But at the end of the day, these guys have long-term contracts, and if this is the future of the Canucks, then we might as well just give up any hope of having a championship team, because for the next 7 and 8 years, we're stuck with two guys who hate each other.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I've heard a couple times in the media is that any trade the Canucks make for JT Miller or for Pettersson to leave the team, they're probably going to lose because they're not going to get anyone back that has the same talent level as either one of these guys.
Exactly. And it's not really going to save either one of them when they go to another team, because now they're going to be an outcast on that team and it's going to have to change again. So if this is where they want to be and they're passionate about winning for Vancouver, then start showing it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's quickly talk before we get back to the game second period. Lineup changes, so quite a few. We
Yep.
had three guys come in the lineup tonight. We had Carlson and Phil DiGiuseppe getting called up yesterday, and then getting in the lineup today. Forbert back in the lineup after being sick, and so now we saw Nils Hoglander, Max Sasson, and Eric Brandstrom coming out of the lineup. Does this say more about the players coming in the lineup, or does it say more about the players coming out of the lineup?
I think it's a combination. For some players, it says more about coming in. Other players, it says more about coming out. Carlson in for Sasson just brings a more offensive-minded game. It's not like Sasson was playing poorly. It's just Carlson brings a little more size, and he's got that offensive top six mind, whereas Sasson's more of a bottom six grinder type of player. So that one makes sense. Forbert, we saw coming back from sickness in for Brandstrom. There's not really a surprise there. Brandstrom hasn't played great defensively the last couple of games he's been in.
Mm-hmm.
He was always a pleasant surprise. He was never really supposed to be part of the overall plan. So he's kind of now going to be that floater guy that gets in and out when we need more puck movement, but I would probably see him being out of the lineup for a few games here to let Forbert get his legs under him. And then PDG in for Höglander is the one where it says more about Höglander coming out. It could have possibly been a move to protect from injury for a potential trade, like with the freeze coming up. We won't know that until like there's another hour. But if it doesn't happen, it might also just be time for Niels to kind of reset and take the healthy scratch as hopefully a wake up call. If he doesn't respond to it, though, he may not be a Canuck much longer after the trade freeze ends. PGG slotted in exactly where I thought he would. Starting the game with Miller and Besser, a line that was successful last season. He's a big body. The coaches are comfortable with the 200-foot game that he plays. And he's a great person to kind of have out there to be like, show some video to Höglander tomorrow and be like, hey, these are the things that he's doing. These are the things that we need you to do. And at the end of the day, hopefully Höglander can figure it out and find some of that 5-on-5 magic that he had last year, being able to get 20 goals at even strength.
Am I crazy to just want Rick Tocchet to put the Lotta line back together and then get Bluger back with Dakota Joshua and Connor Garland?
Maybe that ends up becoming the answer. I don't know. Maybe one of PD or Miller needs to go to the wing, and maybe they just need to start playing together and figure it out. Maybe that's why they're mad that they're not playing together. I don't know, right? Like there's so many layers to this relationship with coaching and the players. So we'll see. Maybe the Christmas break will be good for everyone to kind of get a reset and get refocused. But right now we got a game to win against Vegas, and that's hopefully what these guys are focused on.
All I want for Christmas is Forbert to play more than one game in a row, because that man deserves to be in this lineup, and he deserves to be happy and healthy and have a nice Christmas, because that man has had a terrible year that I don't wish on my worst enemy. So that's my wish for Christmas.
Amen. I agree.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Dustin, for stopping by for the first intermission Rusty and Dusty Sideshow. We'll see you again for the post-game show.
Absolutely.
Nothing is perfect.